Hi, everybody. Dave Robbins here at Remax Properties. Once again, I'm back. Today is going to be a little bit different. First of all, I'll just give you a quick 7-day run on a few statistics, and then we're going to get into the next topic. So, with that in mind, again, the 7-day stats for brand new listings that have come on, and things are starting to move a little bit, thank goodness. New listings in the last 7 days, 358. Now, that's really interesting because decreases of homes, the pricing on the internet right now, 395. What is going on? Um, the properties that have sold this last week, 221. Now, when you want to look at active listings overall, the whole front range, and that includes residential as well as condo, townhome, commercial that are listed through our MLS database, Pikes Peak Board of Realtors. We have 3,021. Now, if you just want to go with single family homes within that whole database, we have 2,478. But when you get down to where it's just Colorado Springs single family homes, we're at 1,322. Now, I remember a couple of years ago when we went out here and it was under 600 homes on the market in Colorado Springs. So this is actually great. Good news. So today, a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about issues on our contract. Now, the contract itself, which I know you can't see this, it's very hard to see them, but it's 16 pages for a contract on 8.5 by 11. I'm going to be talking about the what I call the calendar of events. And on the calendar of events, the very first one talks about title work. Um, I'm going to try to summarize this because it would take much too long to go into extreme depth on title insurance. And that would be really boring. No one wants to watch a video taking that long. But first, I'll go ahead and give you a real quick dictionary version of insurance. Okay, title is the evidence one has of the right to possession of land or property. The title company is an agency issuing the title policy for title insurance. And then title insurance itself is insurance against the loss resulting from a defect of title to a specifically described parcel of real property, i.e. chain of command. Chain of command. That's the old military term, sorry. Chain of title. So anyway, that kind of was a real brief one there. Now, title insurance in itself, like I said, is very heavy. When you first get a copy of your title work that is ordered through your title insurance, there are several people that actually look into it and start studying it. One, obviously, it's the title company has people who do nothing but read the title insurance to make sure there's no issues in it. You will get a copy of that. A copy also goes to the lender that you have chosen. And the lender, the first thing the lender does, I know you probably can't see that, but the first thing the lender does is they will, they extensively go through and read and make sure there are no issues in here. Title insurance itself, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you this. That's a copy of earned money receipt. Title insurance itself can be another 20 pages worth of information. The very first page will indicate the title company and who all is involved, and who all had the policy. The insurance itself, I'm going to get back into those, the commitments, and something really weird. Well, it's not weird. It's important. Today's work. I'll get that out of the way. You're going to see one of these in a lot of them now. The little stop sign, and it warns you, everyone, about wire fraud. Your agent will let you know. Don't just automatically start wiring funds. You need to talk to your title rep, get the right information, talk to that person only, and then doing your wiring that way. So, the other thing too is if there are issues in your title policy that stand out or glaring defect, the title company will have another one of these sheets letting you know, read this, there's something awry. So you got to do this. Okay. The other thing that talks about in your title insurance policy, describe who's going to be insured and who's paying for it. And we'll get into that again later. I'm trying to make this summarized as much as I can. Charges. It will let you know what the charges are and how much is and what is being insured, the property itself, the cost. Then you've got one where it's a separate sheet on this one, and that is it identifies the property to be insured, lot and block. Okay, unless it's meet and bounds, as some people say, and that'll be your farm and ranch. And that brings up another. It goes off there. So many rabbit trails on this, it's not even funny. Title insurance has requirements. There are many requirements. It can be 1 page, it can be 3 pages. And it'll list all the requirements. I'm not going to read all this because it's just going to take way too long. But it lines them out and everyone reads through those. And then it also reads or give you the exceptions, what it will and will not insure. So you've got to know that. A couple of them, this I will read out real quick, is the rights and claims of parties to possession that are not shown in public records. That would be an exception. Easements or claims of easements not shown in public records. I had one 30-some years ago, and it was became quite a challenge. We had to overcome it before we could continue on. Had to get things correct. Another exception: any lien or right to a lien for services, labor, or materials thereof furnished, imposed by law, but not shown by public records. It has to be recorded because that's where the county is going to get the information to provide you your title insurance. So that's a real fast synopsis. You get a copy of your title insurance. So be sure you take a look at that, read it, and then you can ask your agent. But I think you're better off if you go straight to your title rep. What's the questions you may have in regards to your title insurance? They are the pros, and that's all they do. Real estate brokers like myself, kind of like a director of traffic. You've got this circle here, and we are a director of traffic for different issues that go on through the whole contract. We know enough just to where to send you to get the right answer. Many times you will have a good answer, but it's always best as a seller or buyer that you go straight to that person that's recommended. So that's really important. All right, here we go. Title insurance. Dun, 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 dun. Then put this to the side. Paperwork is now title insurance within a contract is a little over 2 pages worth of paperwork out of all 16 pages, which is pretty amazing. Insurance can be paid for by the seller or by the buyer. Paperwork itself, it has to be indicated which one of you is going to buy or pay for the insurance. If you have owned your property 5 years or less, your discount on the cost of that insurance is 55% from what it would normally be. So that's a little bit of a savings. If you're the seller and check this box, your agent should be checking one of them, then you're paying for the insurance. You can also, the buyer can check the box if they want to pay for the insurance. Normally, if they do that, they're looking to have a reduced cost somehow. But also, they want to use their own title company. Make sure it's a reputable company, not some fly-by-night outfit, because you don't want to get involved in any kind of fraud issues either. So that's just kind of a warning in that. All right. Owner's extended coverage. That's another piece. That's starting up here at the top, 8.1.1. Excuse me, 8.1.3. Owner's extended coverage is really important, and I always try to get my people, whether I'm working with buyers or sellers, to apply for that. You make sure somebody's paying for it, either themselves or the seller, because it's only $75. Now you can also split that in half, each person paying half of that. It's not a big cost, but it is really, really vital. Here are some of the things that it covers. It commits to delete or insure over the standard exceptions which relate to parties in possession. So maybe there's somebody, you see this name on the title mark and you go, who's that? Because that's not the owner, from what you can tell. Unrecorded easements. Again, that's something I've had in the past too. That's a real issue. Survey matters. Unrecorded mechanics liens. That one right there saved me many years ago when I sold a house to a young lady and we had some issues that came up. The seller did not record the fact that he had all new windows put in the house, which was a valuable item for my buyer. And anyway, it was not recorded. He never paid the bill. After we had closed on the property, my buyer gets a nasty letter from an attorney saying, "Hey, pay up for these windows. Here's the cost, and we're going to come and take them out." And anyway, needless to say, because I made sure we had a OEC, that got taken care of by the title company. They paid off that issue, and then they go after the previous owner. It's kind of like having the iron after you. You're not going to get away from it. So OEC is very, very important to have. Gap protection. There's another one. Between the time when you sign in the contract, everyone's sitting at the table, everyone signs everything, and the title company takes the paperwork and eventually goes to county. Sometimes there's a gap in there before it gets recorded with that new lender. And if someone can come in and record, hey, we need $20,000 against this house, that has to be paid before the lender does. It can get you in some deep water. So gap protection is really, really important as well. Anyway, long story short, I recommend owner's extended coverage, no matter whether you're a seller or a buyer. So it covers you all. Let's see here. Let me read on. Yeah, either one can pay for that. Title documents consist of the following: copies of plats, the declarations of covenants, conditions, restrictions burdening the property, copies of any other documents that have been recorded. As a matter of fact, well, I'll get into that in a second here about your documents, because there are things now that we have to have everything that is known by title companies recorded, and they'll go back as far as the turn of the century or the 1800s if they haven't. And if it's recorded, you're going to get a copy of it. And the paperwork I showed a while ago, the title commitment, that could be more than 20 pages. Easy. So that's just a new law that came out a couple of years ago. So that's really important. Another one is copies of title documents. Of course, I've been talking about that, and I'm going to get rid of this. Existing abstracts. Now, what's interesting about an abstract, this is a way that title for a property was taken for a very, very long time. An abstract, now this one goes back to 1870. I've had them where they were back in almost the 1600s. I moved my office and I can't find the one that did. But anyway, it's really, really interesting because this was the only way people would have title to their home. So the attorneys would type up a legal description, put all the information on there, and then there you go. Here's your title. And if you lose that, and some scrupulous person gets a hold of it and fills it out, and has an attorney sign that, they are now the owners of your property. So abstracts of title, that was the old way of doing things. That was 1870. I think I got one that's even farther back. I got one here in 1860s, which is interesting. You don't want to do that. And what's interesting, let me grab this one. This one is really interesting in that the cover on this, when they hold these up and give them to you, abstract of title to the premise in Colorado, El Paso County, Colorado, described as, you can't read it, but it'll give you a lot of block and it's on this where it wouldn't go away. And then it has the title company, Mining Exchange Building, Colorado Springs. This is back in the 1800s as well. I think it was 1870, 1867. Interesting stuff. But anyway, that's why now We have the insurance companies. So these are things that are recorded and you can never get lost. So that's really important. All right, let's get back into some more of this. Abstracts. Recorded title has the right to review. The buyer has the right to review and object to the abstract or the title work. When they do, they have to give you the deadlines. Now, the calendar of events that I talked about earlier, there are deadlines for everything throughout the whole contract. I'm not going to go through all of these. Of course, there's no time for that right now. But a buyer has the right to go through there, and if there's something awry, they can object to it. It has to be before the deadline. If they reach that deadline or go past that deadline, they can't object, and they're moving forward on it. If they have something that they object to, it has to be in writing. It cannot be verbal. Your broker has to write it up and get everybody to sign that and turn that in. Then you're good. So those are real quick scenarios on that. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm trying to make sure we get this. Now, if here's the title, objection, and resolution. I'm going to read this real quick, and then we'll finish this off. The terminate. If the seller receives buyer's written notice objecting to the title manner on or before the applicable deadline, and if the buyer and seller have not agreed to a written settlement, contract's dead. Boom. No question, no nothing. It's dead. So be careful of that. You've got to know about those deadlines. You really have to work with them. And the next whole page talks about special taxing districts. Right now, Colorado Springs, I'm not familiar with anything currently that's set up as a special taxing district. We were having that many years ago when Colorado Springs was the foreclosure capital of the world. It was the front page of the Wall Street Journal. It was all. But it turned around and obviously benefited us another way with more buyers coming to town. So anyway, gas, oil, water, minerals, that's all mentioned in your title work as well. Colorado Springs, because of Drill Palmer, when he founded the city, we don't have rights to drill for oil, look for water, or anything else in the ground. So that's going to be an exception in your title work as well. I hope that gives you a quick idea, a little bit of an overlap of what to expect. That is just one item out of many that is very, very important. If that title work gets messed up, it's a real challenge. So anyway, thank you very much for this. I hope that helps a little bit. If you have questions, give me a call, and I'll be glad to take time on the phone and go through that in more detail and go from there. Thank you very much. Give me a call. You got my number on the website there, 719-332-9967. Bye now.